Muchas gracias por haberse contado a los campesinos que nos está cumpliendo.
Nobsa, Boyaca is mostly known for its production of Ruanas. Think of them as the cold weather cousin of the poncho, which is mostly worn in Mexico and the warmer regions of the Andes. The Ruana is a square and thick virgin wool piece of fabric with a hole in the middle from which your head sticks out, leaving your upper body covered and warm. If needed, the Ruana can play the part of a blanket, a pillow, or a small cushion. Oscar Teatino, former mayor of Nobsa, Boyaca, came up with the idea. The third Sunday of every May would be dedicated to honoring the Ruana. He added the word international to his Ruana Day, set up a stage in the middle of the plaza, invited local musicians, put together a fashion show, motivated artisans to create the world's biggest and first Guinness record Ruana to be laid on the top of the main church. Indeed, the festival has attracted some international attention. The town celebrated the third edition of the event in 2010 with Ruanas sporting the flags of the 32 countries participating in the World Cup. Mayor Teatino personally delivered them to the ambassadors of each nation in Bogotá in hopes to draw media attention. Nobsa didn't need to make much of an effort to be the ideal International Ruana Day host. This small town in the Colombian Andes is as unassuming and comforting as the Ruana itself. Only a 3-hour drive from Bogotá, Nobsa has the charm of Boyaca's colonial villages with a twist. Its stores around the main square offer Ruanas in every possible size, color, and style. One might feel tempted to just look around and perhaps get a glimpse of the looms and the artisans. But when the sun begins to set over the Andes and the chillness of the Boyaca creeps into your bones, you will want to reach for one of those Ruanas, and bundled up with hot chocolate and spongy almohabanas in hand. Behind every Ruana there is a family, says Teatino, who acknowledges the intention behind International Ruana Day is to guarantee the financial stability of the 320 families fed by the Ruana industry. The municipality of 15,000 residents used to be known for the manufacture and export of the wool garment, but 2 huge factories dedicated to steel and cement now offer other means of making a living, and Teatino wants to make sure the trade of those artisans lives on. But the ancient art of Ruana making is more than an industry. It's part of Colombia's heritage. When the Spanish reached this region of the Andes, they were in for a surprise. As opposed to most of the indigenous people they had met and conquered along the way, the Muiscas who lived in what we now know as the departments of Cundinamarca and Boyacá were not barely dressed. On the contrary, they wore heavy cotton over their shoulders, colorful and delicately woven. For the Muiscas, the garment was so valuable it was used like salt for trade. Red Ruanas were worn by the religious leaders when honoring the sun, white ones when adorning the moon, and green ones were saved for the wealthy and powerful. Wedding arrangements were sealed when the groom offered Ruanas to the bride's family. Local chieftains, known as caciques, demanded Ruanas as a form of tax payment, and the dead were buried wearing their Ruanas in case it got cold in the afterlife. The Spanish were impressed by the craft of the Muiscas. They taught them how to work with wool instead of cotton, and how to raise and care for the sheep from which the wool was spun. Thus the Ruanas, as we know it, was born. As history would have it, the Europeans conquered the Muiscas, who became their servants, and the Ruana, faithful to its people, became the garment of the poor and peasants. But along came the independence, and Ruanas regained their status worn on the shoulders of the liberating Creoles. While crossing the Andes on their horses and gaining support along the way, the garment of the Muiscas helped Simón Bolívar and his rebel army win the trust of those they intended to liberate. Slowly but surely, the Ruana made it to Bogotá to be worn again by the wealthy and powerful. The Ruana from Boyaca was no longer a symbol of the conquered and oppressed, but rather a garment that all of Colombia would recognize as its own. Now, the Ruana wants to go international. It's aiming for a major comeback, and it's got its own festival to back it up. Just as you would like your cashmere pashmina to be from India or Pakistan, or your silk scarf from China, make sure your Ruana says made in Nobsa, Boyacá. Today, Nobsa's other main economical activities are agriculture, livestock farming, mining, predominantly limestone, and the production of wooden furniture. I hope you've enjoyed this video of Nobsa, Boyacá. Little town worth visiting. You can catch a bus from the Ivaco Center in Sogamoso, and it's about 60-cent bus ride. It takes like 20 minutes. And if you enjoyed this video, please click the like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. If you're new to the channel, I'm currently in Boyacá, checking out all these pretty towns, and there are a lot more videos of Boyacá that I've made that you can find in the description below this video. There's also a link to another playlist of the time that I bicycled through Colombia, where I checked out most of the popular places to visit in Colombia. And I have a link to that playlist of all those videos in the description below this video, where you can also find the playlist of all the videos I made this time in Colombia, in Boyacá department and beyond. So both those playlists are linked in the description. And that time I bicycled through Colombia 3 years ago. That was part of a larger trip bicycling through Latin America. I've also bicycled through Eastern Africa and Eastern Europe, and I have playlists for all the countries that I've bicycled through available on this very same YouTube channel, Hum of the Earth. So you can find those playlists by clicking on the channel, clicking on playlists, and then choosing the country of your liking. Alternatively, you can see an interactive map of everywhere that I went and everything that I got to see and do, available over on my website, followthehumoftheearth.com, where you can click on the different locations and see the various blog posts and videos that I've made of those places. And if you'd like to follow my continuing adventures through the Boyacá department and beyond in Colombia, you can do so by clicking on the red subscribe button and clicking on the bell to be notified when new videos come out. All right, so that's gonna do it. Hope you guys enjoyed. Have a good one.